Hi, I'm Megan Lautz, and I'm a registered dietitian and strength coach with Fairfax County Fire and Rescue. I've been with the county since June of 2021, and before that, I was with Montgomery County Fire and Rescue as a dietitian and trainer for about 5 years. As a dietitian for first responders, I specialize in nutrition on the go when you don't have a lot of time, money, or energy. A lot of the nutrition information that you see on the internet is typically geared for that 9 to 5 professional who can go eat dinner at home with their family at night and then go to bed for 6 to 8 hours, right? But here in Fairfax, most of us don't have that luxury, right? You're working 24-hour shifts, potentially at busier stations where you don't have a lot of time to prep your food, especially with all the trainings that we do here in the county and calls and all of those other things in between. So the recipes here today that we'll be talking about will be quick and easy, something that you can make for the shift or something that you could make in advance that's portable and easy to take on calls. Today we're making Cajun Chicken Pasta, which is in the Firehouse Fresh recipe book. This recipe book is specific to station dinners and gives recipes for $5 to $6 a head, shifts of 6, 10, and 14 with half a pound of protein per person. This specific recipe is roughly $6 a head. And we're actually making it for 14 firefighters today. Now, keep in mind, when I make portion sizes for firefighters, that's roughly double the size of a 4-person Pinterest family, right? So a firefighter is roughly 2 Pinterest family members. The reason I don't specify portion size or limit the quantity of food given to firefighters is we don't know how the day is going to go. You might have a bunch of really busy calls, you're just going back and forth to the engine or the unit the whole day, or you might have trainings or actually run a box. So because of that inconsistent, no guarantee of a slow day versus a busy day, we want to make sure we have plenty of food available if you guys do need more portions. The other side of that too is you guys sometimes like leftovers, right? Something on the middle day or on the last day that you can have for lunch. So again, while it's for 14 firefighters, that's probably really 20 normal portion sizes. And it's plenty to go around. Another cool thing about this recipe is it's predominantly using canned or non-perishable goods. We've got canned, dried, or packaged broth, which is lower sodium. We're using whole grain pasta to boost the fiber of the recipe, and then canned tomatoes, which is a full serving of vegetables and really simple to add to the recipe. The reason we're using canned or packaged items is because it saves some time. Also, if you like to make these things at home, it's really easy to keep at least half of the recipe on hand and then throw in some fresh options when you go to the grocery store. It's less things to go bad if you didn't have time to make the item. The Cajun Chicken Pasta recipe has 10 ingredients, including low-sodium chicken broth, whole grain penne pasta, fire-roasted diced tomatoes, canned, olive oil, bell peppers. If you would like an optional turkey Polish kielbasa, it adds a smokier flavor to the pasta. Onions, yellow onions specifically, Cajun seasoning, Neufchatel cheese, which is basically a lighter cream cheese, and then chicken breast. The first step is dicing the onion and the bell peppers. There are many different ways to chop an onion. Ideally, you would have a sharper knife. Some people like to keep the root intact and then cut down the line, just so that they don't have the, onion tears that can sometimes come with cutting a raw onion. We're adding extra virgin olive oil to the pan because we're not getting the pan too hot. And when I say too hot, extra virgin olive oil has a smoke point of 350 degrees. So it's not great when you're trying to get a really nice sear on a piece of meat or a piece of fish. When we want to go higher than a 350 degree smoke point, we would usually use avocado oil, which you can now find at Costco or really anywhere next to the olive oil. What is the smoke point? Well, a smoke point is where you start to see the oil smoke. So if I put this pan really high heat, you'll start to see and smell a little bit of a smoke coming up off of the oil, which means the oil is kind of disintegrating a little bit, which is not necessarily a great thing to have. That's when we would shift over to avocado oil, again, when we're looking for a nice sear on a piece of meat or really high heat cooking. Now we're adding 6 bell peppers to this recipe to boost the veggie serving and add a little bit of color to the dish. Typically, you wouldn't see bell peppers added into pastas. I know this could be sacrilege to some of my Italians out there, but again, we're trying to boost the antioxidant potential of this specific dish. Antioxidants are important for cancer prevention and cardiovascular disease prevention. They can also help with recovery after workouts or shift work, specifically by helping to clear up free radicals that could cause tissue damage when in excess down the line. Where do free radicals come from? Well, they can come from lack of sleep, shift work, pollution, pretty much anywhere. And again, those antioxidants help clear those out to make sure that your tissues are healthy long term. In terms of chopping a bell pepper, usually you can take a paring knife and go right around the stem, or I prefer to just go around the sides like this. And we're going for a large to medium dice. Once we have the bell peppers chopped, we're going to go ahead and move these over to the pan. Once you have all the bell peppers and onions into the pan, we're going to go ahead and turn it up to medium-high heat. While the peppers and onions are starting to brown, we can go ahead and start prepping the turkey kielbasa if you choose to add it to the dish. Again, this is an optional protein to add into the Cajun chicken pasta, but it does add that smokier flavor and adds a little additional protein to the dish without the extra fat that a beef sausage would add to the dish. In terms of how to cut the turkey sausage, I usually go for half moons, which means just cutting it into rounds and in half, just to spread them throughout the dish to cut costs a little bit. Once you have all the turkey sausage cut, we're going to go ahead and transfer it to a separate frying pan or cast iron pan to brown them slightly, and then we'll add it to the dish later on. Once you have the turkey sausage in the pan, again, we're going to go for a medium-high heat just to get a little bit of browning on them. Once the onions and bell peppers are slightly browned, then we're going to go ahead and add the tomatoes, the pasta, and all of the broth into the pot. A quick note on the tomatoes, you're going to make sure that you pour the whole can of diced tomatoes. We are not draining them. In terms of spices, the best part about this pasta is the seasoning. You can use a generic box Cajun pasta or Cajun seasoning. However, I like to make my own, and this includes paprika, thyme, oregano, garlic powder, onion powder, a pinch of salt, and a pinch of cayenne pepper. So once the onions and the bell peppers are thoroughly cooked, we're going to go ahead and add all of this right into the pot. Once the pasta, the onions, the tomatoes, the broth is all combined, we're going to go ahead and let that simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes or until the pasta is cooked through. So this is a Cajun chicken pasta, right? But we haven't talked about the chicken yet. You could go ahead and cube up about 7 pounds of chicken and cook it in a pot by hand. However, the easiest and fastest way, in my opinion, is to go ahead and let that sit in the crock pot. You can either put the chicken breast into the crock pot on low for about 6 to 8 hours or on high for about 4 to 6 hours. And then go ahead and shred it up. Maybe add a little bit of extra Cajun seasoning, and then it's ready to go right into the dish once the pasta is done cooking. Once your pasta is cooked through, then you're ready to add the Neufchatel cheese. And for this specific recipe, we're going for a block and a half, or about 12 ounces. Once the pasta is done, then you can go ahead and add the chicken and the turkey kielbasa. Or if you would like to leave a vegetarian option for one member on your shift, you can serve the chicken and the turkey kielbasa on the side and have people add it as they go. And there you have it, the Cajun Chicken Pasta. This is roughly a 1.5 cup serving. It's 600 calories, 55 grams of protein, and 9 grams of fiber. So it's usually about enough to keep a hungry firefighter full, with plenty of room for leftovers if you do have that 4 a.m. call.